Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm John Galantis, and you can find the show online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have a question for Dr. Shah, anything you'd like to write in, suggest we talk about here on the show, send us a text at 252-582-5028. You can also email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com. You can help us keep the conversation moving forward by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. We're going to go ahead and do you guys a solid. We're going to leave a couple of links right there in the description so you can help us do just that. Today's verse of the day is coming to us, of course, from Proverbs chapter 7 and verse 4. It says, "Love wisdom like a sister. Make insight a beloved member of your family." And that's one of the themes that you find in these early chapters of Proverbs. It's the value that one ought to place on godly wisdom. And this passage particularly stands out because Solomon is writing to his son, and he continues just to push this theme of embracing wisdom. And so he's comparing it to a trusted family member or a friend, these kinds of people who can be trusted to understand what it is that we're experiencing, what it is we're going through in life. He's saying wisdom is like that, just like you have a friend or a family member, someone that you go to in times of trouble, and you just want to let them know what's going on because you know they would understand. Solomon's saying that's what godly wisdom is like. It can empathize with you in times of trouble. It can counsel you when you have to face decisions. And it's helpful because wisdom and discretion helps you persevere in trials, knowing that God's purpose is to prove our faith and make us spiritually mature. And the book of James actually says the exact same thing. It says to ask God for wisdom when you encounter trials of various kinds. And the promise is that he's going to crown you with life. He's going to give you the crown of life to those who, by faith, endure trials. That's coming at you from the book of James. So it's just a great encouragement for us to remember that in all times, not only in good times, but in bad times as well, to seek godly wisdom. And you can do that by reading the Word of God. In fact, that's what today's episode is brought to you by the Date the Word app. You can download it for free right now on iPhone and Android. It's designed really to bring you the Word of God every single day. And every day connects today's date to God's Word with the hope of making it more memorable for you. We've been having a great week here on the Clearview Today show so far. We called Ryan yesterday, saw what he was doing at camp, and we've been going through a lot of the things that, a lot of the relationship advice and the relationship, I'd say godly counsel that Dr. Shah and Nicole have been doing here on the show. But one thing that the people have been clamoring for that we haven't actually done this week is the grapevine. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I felt kind of odd doing the grapevine without Ryan. It felt like I was betraying him, much like he betrayed me by leaving. But I don't want to harp on that. Doing the grapevine without my good buddy here, it just kind of it felt wrong. So luckily, I actually had someone who wrote into the show a while back whose gripe I had been sitting on. This is Mike S. from North Carolina, longtime fan of the show, longtime good friend. Shout out to Mike S. He wrote in and he said, one of my biggest pet peeves is phone prompts. Phone prompts, and if you don't know what phone prompts are, you're gonna be seeing them more and more the further we go into the future. They're when you call up an organization, and instead of getting, "Hey, hello, my name is Cindy or Mike or whatever, how are you?" It's an automated bot. It's an algorithm. No, I think it's just a voice recording, but it's this series of recordings that takes you through the menu, and they're so frustrating. And he says, especially the lines where you have to listen to all the options before it lets you push a button, or that's true. Because I like to cut them off mid sentence if I know. I make a lot of calls to like Sweetwater and B&H and like audio video reps like that, and I've learned their menu by heart this time. I don't even let them speak. But so, yeah, you're right, Mike. Some of them, 100%, they make you sit there and listen before they let you do any inputs. Or worse, those voice ones where if it senses the slightest bit, these are his words, not mine. If it senses the slightest bit of exhale from your mouth or noise in the background, it'll say, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand." And Mike, I got to agree with you, bud. Those are really, really, really frustrating. And here's the thing. I'm not an old fogey. I'm 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 youngins, but I'm still in the prime of my life, right? I'm young. I'm hip. I'm wow. I'm too young to be saying things like, "Why can't I get a person on the phone?" I resent these things not because they're annoying, but because they're making me seem and act and feel older than I actually am. I'm 32, and I'm over here feeling like a 50-year-old boomer being like, why can't I just get somebody on the phone? How hard is it for someone to pick up the phone? None of these young people want to pick up the phone and talk on the phone these days. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm becoming my dad. I'm so angry. I'm so angry and frustrated by all of these like automated call centers and all these automated like voice responses that I'm truly, and I'm an introvert at heart. I don't even really like talking on the phone, but I would much prefer that than these automated systems. Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and have to give an A+ to your grapevine, my friend. If you guys are listening out there and you guys kind of feel similarly, let me know. Right into the show, 252-582-5028. What's the most irritating voice prompt you've ever heard on the line of someone? I guarantee you it was a cable company. Guarantee you. I don't even do that. I'll let my wife do all that. Again, you can write in and let us know, 252-582-5028. We're going to go ahead and bring Dr. Shah and Nicole in here in just a little bit. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. We got a quick word from one of our ads, and we'll be right back.
Elizabeth, my darling bride, what would you say is the most beneficial thing you could do for yourself in the morning?
Probably drink an entire pot of coffee when sitting.
I'd say that's a close second. No, the best thing you can do for yourself is to start every morning with a daily devotional.
If only we had one to talk about.
Well, as it turns out, we have two.
Right now, you can unlock the power of daily inspiration, wisdom, and spiritual growth in our devotional series, 30 Days Through a Crisis and 30 Days to a New Beginning. Written by our pastor, Dr. Abadan Shah, and his wife, Nicole, the 30 Days devotional series is designed to reveal new biblical truths every single day.
That's right, and every day is a new revelation to guide you on your Christian journey toward a more meaningful and purposeful life. You can pick up your copy today from our website, that's clearviewbc.org, or you can grab both books on Amazon, Apple Books, and Audible.
That's 30 Days Through a Crisis and 30 Days to a New Beginning by Abadan and Nicole Shah. And don't forget, these are only the first two in an expanding devotional series. So keep your eyes peeled for future installments.
Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or you can always text us at 252-582-5028, or you can email us, contact at clearviewtodayshow.com. Lots of ways to get in touch with us. We are here in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, alongside permaguest Nicole Shah. Very good to see you again, Nicole. It's been a fantastic week. Might I say you are... He did it twice. Nicholas had it in there twice. Y'all are looking good. You're looking good. We've been talking a lot about marriage, a lot about relationships this week. And, we actually had a grapevine come in from somebody today, a longtime friend of the show, Mike S.
I know
North Carolina, yes. Very good friend.
Very good friend.
He arrested David once. But
yes, he did.
That's a story for another day.
Yes, he did.
Mike S., he had a grapevine, and he's fed up. He's fed up with when you call someone, or especially when you call like a company or whatever, and you get these automated secretaries or whatever. Yeah. It used to be bad enough. And see, this is me. I feel like I'm not really old enough to prefer talking to people on the phone, but I really can't stand it when you get them. And it's not even like, for this option, press this. Now it's like they want you to talk to the robot. They want you to talk to the bot.
That's right.
But the problem is it can't hear you. It's a bot. And so like if you breathe heavy, they'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Or if you're doing something else while you're on the phone, you know, as we all do because we've been on hold for like 20 minutes, and you're doing something and it makes a noise, whatever it is, like opening mail. Sorry, I didn't get that.
yeah. Or like it's like, would you like to hear our options? And then your kids come up asking for something. You're like, no. And it's like, okay, we'll see you soon. Like, thank you for calling. No, I meant yes to you. That's one of the worst. Do y'all have any
experience with that?
Yeah.
No, Nicole does. She does. Nicole does most of that stuff. Most of that stuff. She's very good at keeping up with those things. So.
And Abadan always wonders. He's like, why don't you want to call? And I'm like, because of this.
We griped about this on the show.
It takes up the whole morning.
Yeah. It's hard to call people these days.
Yeah.
They want you to email them so that they can ignore you.
Yeah.
Or they want you to go through their automated things so that you get so frustrated that you leave them alone.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Church, or at least our church, we're like, please call us. We're here to help you, and we're going to talk to you personally. We can come by your house. And other places are like,
send me an email.
Don't bother us.
Yep, send me an email.
Away.
I'm not going to get back to you.
That's right.
That's how me personally, I'm like, please don't email me because I'm going to miss it. Feelings are going to get hurt. Text me, call me on the church phone, call me on my personal phone. I'd rather just talk on the phone. Right. Hey, let's get it out of the way. But man, it's so difficult. Yeah. The one thing I don't want for Clearview is an automated system. People will get so frustrated with our church.
I don't think we'll ever go there.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have enough.
Thank you for calling Clearview Church. If you know your party's extension,
please
dial at any time.
It's like Dr. Abadan Shah. It's like, sorry, I didn't get that. Hanging up now. Those will test you, mate. There's got to be people who work at those places who like just take that home with them, and they're like talking to their wife or something. They're like, did you take the trash out? It's like, sorry, I didn't get that.
In college, I used to work at
switchboard.
A switchboard type thing. And I also worked at not only the switchboard, but I also worked at I don't think you're probably old enough to remember this, but like you would get magazines of like clothing, women's clothing,
like a Sears catalog.
Yeah. And it would have a 1-800 number that you could call and order.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because this was before the days of internet.
That's how we got Christmas presents when I was a kid. You had to pick it out of a Sears catalog.
I was one of those people
or Toys R Us catalog.
Line, but it was called the Tog Shop, and it was out of Georgia. And we had a whole spiel that we had to say, when we answered the phone.
It was like a script?
Yeah, it was.
Do you remember it?
No.
Do you remember any of it?
I did have to say something about, this is the Tog Shop. My name is Nicole Shah. How can I help you? Or not, Shah.
Nah, I was going to say.
Nicole Shah.
Nicole Shah. No, I would just say my first name, actually. Yeah. I would never give my last name.
My social security number is 241.
So you didn't say, come up with a name like, my name is Michelle.
No.
So it's funny because they do that now where they'll have someone who's clearly not in the United States. And they're like, thank you so much for calling. My name's Tammy. I'm like,
Tammy?
Your name is not Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
What's going on, Tammy? Hey, you down there in Georgia, Tammy? They're like, yes, sir. I'm in the continental United States. I'm like, no, of course not. 100%. Speaking of frustrating things, we've been talking about marriage, and marriage in itself is not frustrating, but there's a lot of times when it comes to finding a relationship that people get frustrated.
Yes.
They get discouraged, and it can be a discouraging process. Dr. Shah, as we're going forward in our series on marriage and relationships and having God's will discerned for our lives, what is your word of encouragement for today?
Trust God. In fact, that word is for every situation people are facing today, whether it is relationship, you are looking for somebody in your life that you can spend the rest of your life with, or you're praying for that for your child or your grandchild or some relative or friend, and you're praying, God, please send somebody in their lives. Don't lose heart. Don't lose hope. God is faithful. And if you pray, and that person also prays, in God's will, God's timing, He will send that person into their lives.
That's true.
The enemy will lie to you and say, hey, that won't happen. Just give up. Life stinks, and you were never supposed to be happy. I guess everybody else can be. Don't buy into the enemy's lies.
That's right.
Know that God will guide you. He will bring you the person. Trust His promises. Follow His promptings. Also pray, God, make me the person who puts you first, and in your timing, you will bring the right person who comes after you.
Amen.
I think that's a big point right there. Is we want God to bring that person into our lives, but are we the person we're supposed to be?
Yeah.
True.
Are we the right person for that one that God is going to bring into our lives? We don't bother with that part. We just want the right person.
Well, because I'm at my default. You know what I mean? Like, I just come in this world's default. This is how it made me. But the person that God's going to put in my life, my spouse now, they got to meet these checklists.
Yeah.
And also, am I in a right relationship with God?
Good point.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that should be your priority.
Yeah.
So pray, God, help me to be in a right relationship with you. And then when you're ready, then let the person come.
What do you think some of why is it so frustrating for people? And especially, I think, as they get older, they become more and more and more frustrated when they're either struggling with singleness or just struggling to find that one, or even just that unsurety of unsurety. I don't even know if that's a word. Just that uncertainty, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, of is this the person? Because we talked about those 3 views where it's like God has a specific will for your life, or he doesn't. There's lots of options that
Wisdom
you can choose
view,
from. Yeah, the wisdom
and then the
view.
relationship, which is God guiding you step by step. I would say one primary reason why it is hard to find relationships is that men and women are different.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Can't you tell?
Even in 2024, they're still different.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's not just men and women are different, but we are different.
Mm-hmm.
We have different backgrounds. We have different set of expectations. We have what's called an independent free will.
Right, of course.
So it's not just that, hey, I think I need to marry you, and you need to say yes. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I've already decided. Like it's
Yeah.
it's kind of, in my mind, it's pretty much a done deal at this point.
Yeah, they have a choice.
Yeah.
And so we have to work with that choice. So it makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You may like somebody, but doesn't mean they'll like you back.
And then it becomes a thing where it's like, all right, well, fine, I like that person, but they don't like me back. How do I convince them?
Right.
You know,
Right.
how do
sure.
I convince them to like me? Which on its face is, I guess, it's a fair question. You know what I mean? Like, how do I change your mind?
I don't know if a person can change it. I mean, I guess you can.
Yeah.
With all the the flowers,
Mm-hmm.
the chocolates, and the
Sweet
sweet
words.
nothings, and the I guess so. But wouldn't you really want to make sure that they like you for
Yeah.
the right reasons?
No, if they pity me, I'll take that. I'll take that. If it means I don't have to be single, yeah.
Another problem in finding the right person are the risks that are involved.
True.
Will this person be the same person tomorrow? Will he still love me the way he says he loves me today? So when people are struggling with those risks, it's hard for them to commit to a relationship.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that I understand that, but that person, or you know, if you're that person, you know that you're not going to be the same person in 5 years. That circumstances will change you.
Yeah.
Things like that will change you. So why would your spouse be the same person too?
Because I think we're
change together.
Yeah, I know. Even just thinking about me, like I'm sort of that way where there's this selfishness that comes in where it's like I'm allowed to change, I'm allowed to grow,
But not you.
not you, because where you are right now is actually pretty convenient for me. Like, you know what I mean? You're at home, you're taking care of the kids, you're bringing in good money. So where you're at, that works for me.
Yeah.
And I want you just to stay there so it keeps working for me. And I know it's kind of facetious, but I mean, I think that's how a lot of people think.
And then there are baggages. We
Yeah.
bring, or baggage. I have my baggage. She has her baggage. The previous experiences in life, past relationships. That's one of the downfall of our culture are the past relationships, because when people have dating relationship experiences, bad or painful, they tend to bring that baggage into the next relationship.
Oh, yeah.
They do. That is one of the downfalls, I feel, of our society, is the whole dating thing, because you have to date to meet the right person, but in the process, a lot of times you get hurt.
Do you guys remember that like illustration? I think a lot of pastors used to do it, like church pastors and youth pastors used to do it back in like the early 2000s or whatever, where it was like teaching teenagers to like save themselves from marriage, and they would take the Velcro and they'd stick it, and it's like, oh man, this is great, but there's some residue left over. So then they would go, it was like teaching to be abstinent, and the more you stick it to stuff, the more it loses. I feel like we kind of don't talk about the emotional and spiritual and mental aspects of that with relationships too.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like you bring all those fights and all those insecurities from those past relationships to where you are right now. So some poor unsuspecting guy or girl is dating you, and then you hit them with all this baggage, and you're like, what the world was that?
Yeah.
And then there are conflicts that happen in relationships. So, hey, the honeymoon stage is over, and then there was a fight, or there was an argument, or there was some disagreement, or there were some hurt feelings. So add that as well. And then advices that we get from loved ones or pastors or self-help books. All these things, when they're added on, it seems like dating just seems tough. Finding the right person seems like this insurmountable task that I'd rather try to climb Mount Everest
Yeah.
than to do this.
It's kind of funny because there's people out there, and I used to think this was just like kind of a joke, but there's people out there who genuinely think that if you get into a fight, like the natural cause is, or the natural like conclusion is you have to break up. It's like, wow, we got in a fight, and it really stinks because I really liked this relationship, but now we have to end it.
Wow.
And the other person's like, no, it was just a fight. Like we can still be.
I'm kind of glad I'm out of that.
Yeah.
When we were dating, that wasn't a thing, I don't think, unless it was a really bad
It was there. It was bad. Yeah. But today, people just don't like conflict.
No.
So it's a different world.
It is.
So the Bible, thankfully, gives us one illustration of how God helped this one man find the love of his life. Or this one girl find the love of her life.
Ooh.
So it's found in Genesis 24. And this is where Abraham was well advanced in age, and he felt like it was time that his son would be married. And so he sent Eliezer of Damascus, who was like the CEO of his company, to go and find this maiden for his son.
Shout out to Eliezer, the wingman of Genesis.
The matchmaker.
The matchmaker.
And he says very clearly to Eliezer, he says, I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and earth, that you will not take a wife from my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but he shall go to my country, to my family, and take a wife from my son Isaac. So he sends the best man on the job. He sends Eliezer to go and find. But he begins with a deal breaker test, right? What is a deal breaker?
Is the morality and salvation. It's our morality.
That's true.
And are we saved?
That's
or
right.
Are you saved?
Yeah. Got to be saved. And I think it's really interesting because it's such a huge thing that he's trusting Eliezer with. You know, shout out to Eliezer, the matchmaker of Genesis. But I mean, it's incredibly, it shows the trust that he has in this man, and also the trust that he has in God, that he's going to trust his son's future with this man, and he's going to trust God to make it happen for him.
And he did not go himself.
That's right.
Just to make sure he stays objective.
Yeah.
I believe Eliezer, though, spent so much time with Abraham, he knew his heart.
That's right.
And so he knew exactly what, or who, I guess, Abraham was looking for his son.
That's a good point you made. That's a great point. But that's also a good point you made about Abraham wanting to stay objective and not set the bar too high. Because I think, especially as someone with the, I don't want to say burden, but like the responsibility that Abraham has on his shoulders, it can be very tempting to set that bar incredibly high.
Parents, we can sometimes have a long list. You don't want to do that because it becomes virtually impossible for your children, grandchildren to meet that list.
But imagine if you knew that the Messiah is going to come through you. Like, you're going to be pretty choosy over.
That would be really hard. I mean, then you would really be nitpicking over every little thing.
But him sending Eliezer shows that trust and shows that humility that he has. You know, I love that.
So, very important, that first deal breaker test. But then, if you notice what Eliezer does, he actually begins with prayer. Once he gets near the city of Nahor, he prays, and his prayer is Genesis 24:12. O Lord God of my master Abraham, please give me success this day and show kindness to my master Abraham.
Wow. What a heart.
Prayer. I mean, both Nicole and I have prayed for our children and still do. And our prayer was not only, God, would you bless them, work in their lives, make them godly people, people who love Jesus Christ, people who walk in the Word, people who are obedient to the leading of the Holy Spirit in their lives, people who are the salt and light in this world, people of good character. I mean, we prayed these things, but we also prayed
for their spouses.
That's right.
And their spouses to be, of course, because we have two that aren't married.
Right.
But we prayed, before they were married, while they were dating, and I've always prayed for the future spouses. And when they were in relationships, I would literally pray, if this person is the right one for my child, then make them into the godly man, godly woman that they need to be. And if it was like for our daughters, make them the leader that they need to be.
Yeah.
right.
The spiritual leader, all of those things. And then I would also pray too, before they were married, I was like, if they are not the right person, please, even today, take them out of their lives.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. But the third thing is qualities. The qualities that matter. Eliezer was looking for someone who was willing to work hard. He was not looking for somebody who was perfect and beautiful and had all the makeup and the nice shoes or the best dress,
best hair, best
car. He wasn't looking for that. He was looking for somebody who was hardworking. Again, nothing wrong with nice, looking good, or nice shoes, or nice car, or none of that is bad. But the qualities that matter are deeper.
Right.
And if you notice, his test was Genesis 24:14. Now let it be that the young woman to whom I say, please, let down your pitcher that I may drink. And she says, drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. Let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac.
It's the quality of her character that he's looking for.
Hard work, because she's coming to draw water. But also there is a sense of kindness and understanding in her spirit.
Yeah, that beauty was not his top priority.
It was not skin deep.
Yeah.
It was deeper than just what was on the surface.
Is that hard, do you think, for young women today to look past or see past their own physical beauty and work on their character? Do you think it was easier back when you were growing up, or even back maybe during these times, or do you think it's something that women have always...
I think it's always something that women have always struggled with, because there's always been that struggle of being young, of always looking young, or, looking younger, And, I mean, even back in the times in Egyptian history, women were wearing makeup back then. So I mean, so it's not a new thing. It's not new.
Yeah.
True.
And so it's important to make sure you make a list of qualities that you're praying, God, let this be in this person. And then be patient and wait.
Yeah.
Eliezer did not just immediately jump in and say, hey, are you the one? Are you the one? Is she the one? He just waited by the well. And sometimes an individual who is single, I don't care whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you're sitting there waiting, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to take the next person.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work out, and then you're disappointed, hurt, and on and on.
I like the example you gave. I don't remember when it was, but I don't believe it was in a sermon. It could have been, but you said, if you're single and you're looking for that person, you need to get on with your life and serving God in the ways that He's called you to. But as you're going along, look to your right and to your left and see who is there alongside, who's doing the same things.
Yeah.
Right.
And that could be a clue.
Yeah.
A good clue. Yeah.
I can't imagine being single in my 30s, and I don't say that like as an insult or disparage anyone, but I can imagine that's very difficult because it is a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and it's like, for me even, I'm very impatient by nature, and so I think God had mercy on me there, but I just can't imagine the strength that it takes to wait on God.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds silly, but it's not at all. It's difficult.
Learn to be patient. Don't give up. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Don't get frustrated and mad. And usually people get angry with themselves or angry with their parents or angry with their circumstances or even angry with God. And none of those things ever help you.
That's right. That's right.
Always remember those negative things that you're saying about people, family, self, world, God, actually makes the process even more difficult.
One of the things you said in one of the prior episodes was about how you look at people's families, how when their families come alongside, like you're not just marrying that person, you're also marrying into their family.
No, and that's one thing that I believe that young people and even people who are older fail to realize, that you're not just marrying that individual.
Yeah, you're adopting a new family.
You're bringing in that family. And so you really need to pay attention to, does the family have the same values that I do? Get to know them very well, because they are going to be in your life.
And I've seen it before where it's like you find a girl that you like, or you find a guy that you like, or whatever, and their family is like, you can tell there's some red flags here, but she doesn't seem that way. He doesn't seem that way. So you trick yourself, and you're like, it's not going to ever really influence us at all, and you don't realize that it's in that person. They can't escape it.
And again, I'm not going to make it bad, because if you grew up in a certain family that either they're not Christians or they have a lot of baggage. I don't want to just label somebody unfairly because you didn't ask for that family. It just happens. So this is not like bad family. Oh, you're out.
Yeah.
What we're saying is at least be aware of that.
Yeah.
People can rise above.
Yes.
People can rise above how they were raised. Or, if there's major issues in their extended family, they can rise above that with God's help.
Yeah, but we tend to ignore it. We tend to ignore, just like we were saying, all the baggage that we bring in from past relationships. Some of those come from your family, and rising above it is great, and that's what we can do, and it's possible. But I see a lot of people ignoring it.
Yeah,
she's not like her family. He's not like her family.
Yeah,
but it turns out they're more like them than they know, and if you don't address them,
and of course, right here in Genesis 24:23. Eliezer asked the question to Rebekah. He said, "Whose daughter are you?" He wants to know what is your family tree.
That's right.
A couple more things very quickly is number 6 is acknowledge God every step of the way. Because when Eliezer realized that this could be the one, he prayed. He prayed and he thanked God that this could be the one. He worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And this is Genesis 24:52. And then he showered her, or Rebekah, with gifts and all on that, on and on. And then her brother, who was Laban, of course, we later on find out Laban is kind of a crooked character who will deceive.
I thought I had a boo on here, but I think Nicholas took the one. I had a boo, but boo.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy.
Oh, yeah.
Deceived his own son-in-law twice, or tried the second time.
Yeah.
But anyways, he wanted her to stay a little longer and on, and Eliezer's like, no, we're going to leave tomorrow if the young lady is okay with that. So be wise and avoid long engagements. Recognize, don't waste your time. Don't spend 6 years, 7 years, 8 years.
Bro.
Right?
Pam and
Why
Roy.
would you do that if you already know that you want to marry that person?
I know.
Why are you going to wait that long?
I had a friend who did that, who was engaged for like 7-8 years, and then they broke it off.
You're never
It's like you wasted
They wasted it.
almost
you're
a
never
decade.
going to have enough money to buy that house right off. You're never going to have whatever you think you need. It's never going to be quite the right time ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one big one is don't lose your sense of humor.
Yeah,
in
true.
this process, don't lose your sense of humor, because what's funny is it says in Genesis 24:63, and Isaac went out to meditate. Now, here's the thing about that word meditate. It's a rare word. In technical terms, it's called a hapax legomenon. Hapax legomenon is like this word does not occur anywhere else. So often people say he was praying, or he was meditating, or he was just walking. That word, interestingly, it has the idea of relieving himself.
He's out there. He's taking care of business.
He's taking care of business.
He's taking care of business. He's seen a man about a horse.
He can hear Nicole laughing.
Yeah, I hear him. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's got to be.
So when you have like such a romantic story, instead you have a dude out there.
Yeah. And it's love at first sight too. That's it.
Love.
That's the way she met her husband.
And verse 64, then Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. The word is not dismounted.
It's like fell off.
She fell off the camel.
She fell, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
You okay, Nicole?
I am.
Imagine that was the first time you ever saw Dr. Shah, when you met him for the first time. He's out in the field.
He's over there, I'm doing business, and Nicole's falling off the camel.
Yeah. He had to go just talk to a man about a horse.
I just can't. I mean, when he actually preached this sermon, and when he said that, I was like, really?
Yeah, it's the first time you ever see your future husband.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude, but I just didn't, man. I just wish I didn't see that.
And so she falls off the camel, but King James makes it even funnier to me. She lighted off a camel.
She lighted off. What does that mean?
Like the camel's cigarette. She's like, whoo.
Like the camel just like reared up and bucked her off or something? I don't know.
No,
what lighted off.
I mean, that's
pretty much she fell off.
Just slipped off.
Yeah, but light off a camel, if you remember camel cigarettes.
Oh, the camel cigarette. Man, I hadn't thought about those in years. My parents didn't smoke Camels. They smoked Vantage. I hadn't thought about camel cigarettes in a long time.
You know, the person who doesn't go to church, they read that the first time, they're like,
Yeah.
Smoking?
She
was
just
smoking.
Yeah, she just had to take a
So-
smoke break real quick.
All that to say, just have a sense of humor.
Very true.
In this whole process, don't get so serious and so.
And that's going to quell a lot of that frustration.
Yes. And so, anyways, they were engaged. She didn't immediately move in with him. They had a wedding, of course, and they had ups and downs, but they had to learn to love one another.
That's
so
right.
this is. I hope this will give somebody some hope.
I think so. I think it's a great episode, and it's a great reminder for you guys. If you're feeling frustrated in that search, don't, because God is going to do something great, and He wants to. And part of that is through listening to this radio show. We hope that we're bringing you some encouragement in that search. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you want to text us in, maybe tell us how your search is going, any ways that we can be praying for you during that time. You can do that, 252-582-5028. We're going to come back for one more episode with perma-guest Nicole Shah tomorrow. We're going to be doing lightning round. Listen, this is lightning round couples edition. So text us your couple-related questions, marriage-related questions. These are questions. So we've already had some. I've been holding on to them. But tomorrow, that is lightning round edition, lightning round couples edition. We'll see you guys there. ClearviewTodayShow.com.